On the show, I have with me a gentleman, a social commentator, and a seasoned educator. By name is Mayor Ayeni. Mayor Ayeni, you are welcome onto this show.
Thank you very much.
On this show, our topic is beyond repetition of an academic class level, implications and solutions. Beyond repetition of an academic class level, implications and solutions. Mayor, have you ever at any time repeated a class during your anytime during your schooling?
Oh, yes, I have repeated a class, especially when I was in secondary school and also when I was writing a professional course. I had the opportunity of repeating a particular.
Okay. What was the experience like to you? Right.
I remember when I was in secondary school then, I was really intimidated. I was feeling I lost my self-esteem because seeing my class move to the next class and myself couldn't really move, just have to repeat the same class and have to follow juniors, the supposed junior that we used to bully them, having to be with them in the really lowered my ego and want me to say, oh, I lower my ego and I have to just sit down and put myself together all over again.
So more like you were humbled.
Yeah.
You knew what humility really means.
Yeah.
Anyway, more or less from your description, it seems you had a negative experience, so to say. Am I correct?
Yeah, I have a negative experience because then when I even walk on the street, those some of them my friends that we happen to be in the same school, they rather look down on me and say, "Oh, come on, look at him." Even at home, the way your brothers, your siblings look at you and all that, and you've been the talk of the town at home. From my own experience, I used to be the champion, the supposed champion in my home, but all of a sudden, seeing me repeat, I remember my mom then used to say, "Oh, this is the result of what you have done in school. Look at it; it's showing it's at you in the eye now." And she will say a lot of things that will make me feel rather bad about myself. That, oh, why do I have to repeat a class, or why do I have to repeat this particular subject?
Okay. Okay. So, from your experience, it's nice that you had that experience so that you can really speak well. But let's look at it. Today, repetition of a class, what does it entail, or what is it? Just the mere word of repeat to repeat a class, or can you expatiate on what it entails? What are the implications? Things. What are the things that are involved?
Today you hardly see children wanting to repeat a class,
Why?
or you hardly see people want to repeat a class because of the stigma it's have on the stigma it has on them. You understand? And more so, the parents of the supposed victim don't want their children or their ward or their child to repeat a class because they feel, oh, it's their reputation. And more so, some of the positive thinking which we have today, like you will succeed, you will do this, you will do that, is really playing, though encouraging students to stride up is very good, but again, there is a place of high, it has to be side by side in order for you to have a balanced life. But when you give a kind of self-esteem to a particular child, telling you, oh, you will succeed, you are this, you are that, that child will have that mentality, which is, of course, is good. But on the other hand, where he needs to work, if he has failed on that, and those two do not tangle, and you have a different result. So the main issue is that the main issue is that parents have a role to play, and also the school. The school has a role to
Well,
play.
I will believe you are talking about another area I want to come to. Maybe
Oh,
mention details, so I should take you on that. The issue you are talking about is you are talking of people who are concerned when
yeah,
repetition of a class ever happens. Do you
yeah,
understand? That is the stakeholders. You have given me the child itself. You have given me parents. You've
yeah,
even mentioned school, and I'm
yeah.
an extension at each of them.
Well, the victim, being the child, is demoralized. You understand? Is demoralized based on the fact that he has to repeat. He's demoralized based on the fact that he has to repeat the class. The parents also feel, oh, I've spent so much on you in this session, and it is that anger that they will take on that child and make him not really explaining, not making him to see why he has failed, but making the child to see the amount of money they have spent and the time which the child has which has because of the whole the during the course of this. The school being the stakeholder also um, might one way or the other um, given an advice to the parent, but let me come in this way. That's the school might have given an advice to the child based on what the parent is insisting that okay, this child shouldn't study this or should not do this particular subject, and that might one way impact on the child, in the long.
My stakeholders now.
Yeah,
Now, each of them, number one, the victim is affected.
yeah,
You say it's demoralized. That is the feeling the child had.
yeah.
So, how does that affect? We are not talking yet of what the school do. That parents,
Okay.
what is the feeling? Like in your own case, what was the feeling your parents?
My parents felt very bad for me to go and
How did they express that feeling to you?
uh, how did they express the feelings to me? They were angry at me. Sometimes it might be that I'm supposed to go to school and pay. I'm supposed to buy a particular thing in the school. They might not even give me the money which I need to for the subject. You understand? So I had to go and source that money out on my own. You understand?
So, apart from that, let's look at your teachers. Then, did they had, did they issue
Yeah,
any kind of
biology teacher then was always encouraging me.
that was subject teacher?
That was my teacher. A mistake, they will chip in your level of failure and say, "Oh, that was what has led you to that." So, do you understand all those kind of things? So,
Sorry, this is international TV. So what
no,
do
but you have knowledge but no results. You understand? Which
that's it. So
is you have an idea of what the subject is, but it is translated to zero at the end of the day. You understand what we're saying.
okay,
So these are some of the
okay.
things one
So how
face.
did your how did they take you?
Mm.
Now you had friends that had stepped up, but here you are
Now, my
with
friends,
new, younger.
well, I will tell you categorically, I will tell you bluntly that my friends, they deserted me.
Okay, you were
But
deserted.
most especially, more importantly, those that were repeated together, they picked party to each other. You understand? We are the ones that continue to carry ourselves
Comforting
along,
one
comforting
another.
ourselves along the line. You understand?
Okay, that's interesting. So as there was peer pressure, there
Yeah.
was also peer comfort.
Yes, yeah, there
Something like
was.
that.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. Anyway, now if you look at it, with all this you have said, do you think what was the general? How do I put it? Okay, let this a modern time now. This thing is not obtainable in the private subsector of education in Nigeria today,
Of course.
or something like. Why is it different from that of the public schools?
Now, public school was only, so you only go in and have an opportunity to do whatever you want to do in the school. But today, parents are paying, and they feel that I am the one to tell you what's my child. But irrespective of whatever you are telling the school make you sign an undertaking that okay, whatever might have transpired between the decision you are making, you will bear it on your own. So these are some of the main reason is the main reason is that parents are the one dictating the tune and not the teacher. And where you don't have you're not your management staff and every other person are not very sure whatever the parent is saying, though they are stakeholder, but yet though they are is offline though they are stakeholder you understand, they are stakeholder in the thing, but they still have one or two things to
Okay.
say.
Now, there are stakeholders. Fine, you are talking of perhaps there is a paid service.
Yeah.
Should that be a reason repetition of class is not, no parents have a negative attitude towards it? No, first refusal. You tell a parent has a child in private school, the parent tells you no, refutes bluntly, totally, that his or a child cannot
repeat that
a class. So
yeah.
why do you think they make such a thing? What's involved from the angle?
Well, number one,
Do they stand to lose anything?
they feel they are the one making the payments. That's one. But again, they feel they are the one making the payments, and again, they don't. They lack. They don't want their child also to be stigmatized because it will they feel it's going to lower the ego of their child, so they don't want that child to repeat. And we're in a bless you world, and that's okay.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, what I'm saying is that you will succeed and all that without the necessary hard work that you need to put into it. Work and faith, they all work side by side. So if you don't work, automatically you might not get the results which you really want. So that's what I mean by
So the parents, you mean they are looking at it from the angle of time that the child will lose, then at the same time they are looking at it of perhaps their finances. They have committed this other question now, that repetition, the way it is in your own, when it happened to you, it was a stigma. Is it really a stigma? Repetition of a class, should it really be a stigma, or is it as a result perhaps maybe the way it was managed or the general attitude? That's what we are looking at.
The truth presently is that I have better knowledge of what it means to have failed. Now, the stigma, because you did not, what it simply means is that you've not gotten the principle that you need to get in order to tackle that particular problem. So it's not really a stigma, but some parents are the one who wouldn't want their child or what to repeat the class. Some are willing to go the extra mile because we're talking about the future of that child. We are talking about the future of the child and the foundation in which the child is building that future, which is looking up to. You understand?
Okay, so now you are looking at it as either strength, sorry, as a strength, not stigma.
Yeah.
Do you understand? How would you, if you have the opportunity to tell to parents, how will you explain this to a parent that it should take it away, it should look away from the perception or perspective of it being a stigma than, or to embracing it as a strength? How do you convince?
If I get you right, are you talking about
A parent has been looking a parent has been looking at it from a stigma point that no, my child, especially most parents in private school. No, I remember a time a child was to be enrolled and was coming from another school into a new school. So the new school happened to test that child and discovered that child that did not know even lower classes. The child could not even give a good account of himself on it. So now, what do you say? That parent decided not to, because the school insisted the child must step down a little to the lower class, immediate lower class, but the parent refused and took away that child from that school. Do you understand? They have fixated their mind on the particular class level they want that child to be. In this case, they are looking at it as a stigma for reasons. Do you understand? Now, how will you convince such a parent to see it as a strength to the child and not a stigma?
That's a tricky one anyway, but again, I will try and
do you understand?
I understand what you're saying.
Is it a strength or a stigma? Why do you see it as a strength? Why is it a strength and not a stigma?
Because it's an opportunity for the child to develop himself all over again. Eventually, he had tried the first time, but he didn't get it right. So it's an opportunity for him to go over that particular subject which he has not really perfected or which he has not really known. He has to work all over it again, and as a result, he's going to get better, even know it better than those who have gone ahead of him. Because most times we do not really get the principle of a particular subject or of a particular topic that we're being taught until we get to a higher stage where we have to come back to read about that subject and understand the basic principle which is being taught. But again, it will be an advice to the parent that he or she should rather focus on the foundation of the child for today rather than looking at the time, the money he or she has spent towards the child.
Getting the child. Okay. But let's look at it now to correct this impression of expressing a sense of victimizing the child. This general attitude. Do you understand? How can, for instance, all the stakeholders, what can be done as a solution for them to embrace, to understand, for a change in attitude? If a child happens to repeat a class, change their perception of that child from stigmatizing the child to strengthening the child. So the attitude now, like in your case, for instance, you felt rejected by your friends and the family and all those, you were humbled and also. So from that point of view, so how do we make people to change their attitude from that? Generally.
People just need to change their attitude towards whatever experiences they have seen in people, whatever failure a particular person might have experienced in his or her lifetime. The number one thing they need to do is to rather encourage the victim if he has not really gotten the required material, the required thing he needs to know. They should call the attention of the child. One, he should seek a counselor who will ask him various questions on what he or she needs to do. Now again, he will need a counselor to advise on what he or she needs to do. With the help of the counselor, the child can be better taught to take proactive steps to know what he or she needs to do, you understand, in order for him to move beyond the level he was before. So as for him to move beyond the level he was to a better
okay, thank you, Mr. Ayeni Mayowa. aka Mayor. Um, it's a topic that we really need to. We've not been able to cover all the questions we need to touch, but we believe maybe we'll have follow up to this. So I really welcome you for your time on this. I mean, I appreciate your time and presence on this show. Thank you very much.